What's up everyone, Conman here. You may have already noticed that I recently uploaded a video after a pretty extensive period of being inactive. I'd like to think that video marks my return to making pretty consistent content again, and today I'm doing something a bit different from my usual gameplay videos. For a while now I've wanted to make some storytime-like videos where I'll just talk about some sort of topic, such as an entertaining story from my life, or even commentary regarding some other topic. However, to kick off this idea, I wanted to make one of these videos to talk about what exactly I've been dealing with over the recent months, so y'all can get to know me a bit better, and to give a little insight as to why I've been inactive. Now, what exactly has Conman been up to? Well, this last year and some change has been pretty wild across the world due to this whole virus situation, and it's led to some pretty significant changes in my life as well. I work a full-time job at a pretty successful company, and this company was quick to transition to work from home, so that was a pretty big change for me. Granted, it's one I've been mostly happy with. However, that's not to say there hasn't been a negative side to it as well. I've always been somewhat of a homebody, so I actually enjoy just spending time at home quite a bit, but even for me, sometimes I would start to feel kind of trapped, and all my days started running together. I'd be lying if I said that my mental state hasn't been affected in some way during all of this. It's also important to note that I have a 4-year-old son, who was actually 3 at the time, who was in daycare. So when everything closed down, we had to pull our son out of daycare, which was another challenge on top of working from home. Since I was now working from home, we decided after our term was up with our apartment complex in February 2021 that we would move a little closer to family. On top of that, we found out toward the end of 2020 that we had another baby on the way. So realizing we were going to be having another child and a move to prepare for, all while during this pandemic, we knew we were going to have a lot on our plate, but things don't stop there. Oh no, that would be too easy. Fast forward to January 2021. It's finally a new year. 2020 had all the memes for being the worst and everything going wrong, so surely 2021 would be the time to turn things around for the better, right? Well, on January 12th, we had ourselves a snow day. I know that doesn't sound like much, and typically it's not, but keep in mind I do live in Texas. Snow just doesn't really happen in Texas. I can probably count on one hand the number of times it snowed through my entire school life, maybe 2 hands for my entire 27 years. And when we do get snow, it's usually so weak that it melts before it can even build up on the ground. However, this time was actually a decent amount of snow for us. And since Texas isn't used to real snow, we don't exactly have the infrastructure in place to deal with it when the time comes. So of course, my entire apartment complex and many other places in my area lost power. As you can probably imagine, it's not exactly a great experience to lose power when it's below freezing temperatures. I know some of my viewers from other states that are more used to dealing with snow will probably find some humor in this, and that's fair, but that was just the start. That night, my family and I were sitting at the dining room table with a couple small battery-powered lanterns. I had spaced out the lanterns around the apartment so we could see where we were going since it was already getting dark outside. Then, that's when it happened. All of a sudden, our sprinkler system went off. There was no fire, no smoke, or anything to trigger the sprinkler system that I could tell, but it started spraying like our lives depended on it. Panic ensued. For some reason, it was only the sprinkler in our hallway that went off, but due to its central location, it began to flood our hallway, our son's room, and our kitchen. The flooding became so severe it extended to our bathroom and parts of our living room, dining room, and bedroom. Every room in the house was filling with water. Our apartment was primarily covered in carpet other than the kitchen and bathroom, so the carpet was taking in the water, and yet there was still a layer of water on top that was only growing. I couldn't find a way to shut the water off, and mere towels and blankets were not enough to block the force of the sprinkler, nor could they absorb quickly or efficiently enough to keep up with the water flow. I quickly realized that I myself wasn't going to be able to disable the sprinkler, and I proceeded to call the fire department because I wasn't sure if this was only occurring in my apartment, or if another apartment had a fire that somehow triggered our sprinkler system. We also got a hold of our emergency maintenance line, and it wasn't until about 15 long minutes later that the water was shut off. There was finally a slight sense of relief that was still overshadowed by the sense of dread from the pool of water in our home and the incessant beeping of our fire alarm that had yet to be shut off. I then stood there outside of my apartment door soaking wet with nothing but sweatpants on in below freezing temperatures, waiting so I could signal the fire department and maintenance since the power had yet to be turned back on. As the fire department showed up, we were finally able to get the continuous beeping of the fire alarm to cease. It wasn't until then that we were truly able to begin processing what had just taken place and to assess the damage. Remember, this was in January, and we were supposed to move out in February, so we had already started getting things together for packing. There were only 2 corners of my apartment that were dry. Fortunately, one of those corners was where I had both my personal computer, the one I'm using right now, and my work computer. The other corner was where I had put a new TV that I had actually just won in a contest at work that happened to still be in the box. As devastating as the experience was, those 2 corners remaining dry were certainly a massive W in my eyes, and we were very lucky that we didn't lose many belongings that couldn't be replaced. After that, my sister let us stay at her house for about a week, since that's about how long it took to be able to dry out the entire apartment. Once we were finally able to go back to our apartment, we had to throw out tons of clothes and other random items that were soaked beyond repair. Funny enough, those same clothes that were on the floor of my bedroom are a large part of the reason that the water didn't reach my computers. If you take anything away from this video, let it be the importance of having renter's insurance, because that was definitely a lifesaver. Now, I could keep talking about the flood, but I think y'all got the gist of it at this point. So what's next? Well, let's just say that throwing out all of those soaked belongings of ours made the moving process a bit lighter, but not light enough. Through all of this, Charity was still pregnant, and pregnant people aren't exactly supposed to be doing the heavy lifting that the moving process often requires. That's not to say Charity didn't do her part, because she's definitely a lot better at organizing and packing than I am, but too soon it was about time to rent a truck for moving. Since Charity wasn't going to be able to do much of the labor-intensive part of the moving process, and our move date was closing in, we decided to hire some moving help. But wait. Oh yeah! We're in the middle of a global pandemic, and my lovely pregnant fiancé has just tested positive for COVID. Welp, so much for getting moving help. So, Charity has COVID, and Charity is pregnant. I need to load up a bunch of heavy boxes into a U-Haul. Oh, and exactly a month after the snow day and the sprinkler situation, we have another cold front coming in, and it's going to be worse than the last one. It's literally a race against time, because the night of our move-in date to our new place is when it was supposed to be dropping below freezing again. Here we thought this moving process was actually going to be fairly smooth, because we had about a week of overlap where we technically still had our apartment and our new place at the same time. So there wasn't supposed to be a huge rush to get everything to our new place on the first day, but since the freezing weather was starting on the first day of our move-in, we had to get whatever we could to the new place as soon as possible. I definitely gotta give huge props to Charity here, because despite being pregnant, she did way more than she should have had to. I didn't let her do anything crazy, but she was not slacking by any means, as much as I'm sure she would have loved to just sit back and relax. So now it's time to load up the U-Haul, because the cold front is coming in within a matter of hours, and it's supposed to be our first night at our new home. Charity is still trying to finish last-minute packing while I work on some last-minute loading onto the truck. We managed to get about 95% of our belongings onto the truck, but it's now getting close to midnight. We're exhausted, it's getting late, and the temperatures are officially reaching below freezing. To top things off, it's about to start raining, which means the roads will soon be freezing too. But since we still have about a week left on our apartment, we leave the remaining 5% of our belongings behind and decide to hit the road for our new place. Luckily enough, it's only sprinkling as we leave, and we have a pretty smooth drive to our new home. But right after we complete our drive and get inside, the rain becomes more severe and the roads start freezing. Actually, as I parked the U-Haul in our driveway, I noticed that our driveway already had some ice building up, but I was barely able to back it in enough to keep it off the road. We do the bare minimum of getting our beds set up so we can at least get some sleep, and then the next day, everything is frozen. The roads, the grass, the cars, everything. But no big deal, right? I mean, we made it to our new home safely, we still have about a week on our apartment, we have time for it to warm up so we can get the rest of our stuff. Wrong. The forecast was showing that we were expected to have freezing temperatures for the next 10 days. And not just freezing temperatures, but as low as 0 degrees Fahrenheit. I know to some of y'all that may not be as crazy, but again, this is Texas. According to a veteran meteorologist, we haven't had temperatures like that in Texas for at least 30 years. And this was for 10 days straight. However, through all this, I've got to say, even in these unfortunate circumstances, we've still managed to be pretty lucky. Because people all over Texas were losing power and even water during those 10 days. I've seen videos of people's roofs collapsing due to the conditions, trucks weren't able to make deliveries so stores were running out of stock, and of course, people were panicking and buying everything in excess. But we were fortunate enough through that entire time to not lose power or water even once in our new home. Although we learned later that our apartment had lost power yet again, so we were glad we made it to our new place in time. Once we made it through the Great Freeze, we were finally able to get the rest of our things from the apartment and truly begin settling into our new place. Charity recovered from COVID, although she still can't smell and can hardly taste, and at this point we have about another month or two until she pops. But all things considered, she's doing well. It's been a pretty wild series of unfortunate events, but it's certainly been an experience full of memories to say the least. With another child on the way, which is going to be a girl in case you were wondering, the grind never stops even when the sleep does, but I'm happy that we're finally here. I've recently started playing tennis again, and I'm feeling more myself than I have in a while, and I suppose that's why I decided it was finally time to get back to making content. One of the things that's been weighing on my mind over the last few months was that I felt like I was wasting the potential of this channel, especially with such a great community behind it, so I'm extremely happy to be making videos again. I'm not really sure what kind of response to expect from this video, but at the very least I hope you can all find some solace in my experience. So if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you haven't subscribed, then click the subscribe button and turn the notifications on to see my future videos. Also, if you like this video, let me know if there are any other topics you would like me to talk about with this format, whether it be about myself or something else. I'm open to suggestions. And if you made it this far into the video, leave me a comment down below letting me know you made it here. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.